Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Wednesday's Reflexology Wisdom, and I'm wanting to bring you an update from Kevin and Barbara Kunz with regard to their neural pathway of applied reflexology research project. This has made some really significant progress now in validating the neurological mechanisms behind reflexology through advanced imaging and experimental methods. So what we're hoping to see with this is, of course, a more potential therapeutic and nuanced understanding of the mind-body connectivity. So firstly, just a kind of little bit of history. So this project all began with a decades-old theory from Barbara and Kevin on how applied reflexology could influence health by activating specific neural pathways. So collaborating with neuroscientists, the team pursued rigorous investigation, cutting-edge fMRI technology at the University of Minnesota School of Medicine and the Center of Magnetic Resonance Research. Now, reflexology was performed on both healthy controls and stroke patients, as their brains were scanned with preliminary results presented at an international conference and also then shared with the global reflexology community. And I'm really pleased that Kevin and Barbara and his team partly chose the Integrated Reflexology Consortium to be part of that. That was just a superb webinar. If you haven't seen that webinar, by the way, you can still access it. Just go to irc.training and you'll be able to see that. So brain scans captured during foot reflexology demonstrated activation not only in the somatosensory regions corresponding to the feet, but also in unexpectedly diverse and extensive brain networks, including areas unrelated to direct sensory input from the foot. In other words, when they were monitoring brain activity, yes, there was somatosensory means being aware of your sensations, so being aware of touch, being aware of your surroundings. So the areas of the brain lit up for the foot, of course, but then this word diverse means other areas of the brain. Could this be proving the reflexology foot map? That's one thing that I'm absolutely fascinated by, is could this work start to prove the reflexology foot maps, as well as the work that Kevin is doing with stroke. So in healthy participants, real-time fMRI revealed significant modulation of the flow of blood in brain regions linked to physical and mental functions. I mean, this is fascinating, supporting the feasibility of reflexology's systematic effects. The team collected and is analysing more than 80,000 scan images, with preliminary results indicating that reflex area stimulation can be mapped to specific functional connectivity patterns associated with well-being and pain modulation. I mean, this is like the holy grail. This is what we've been waiting for. It's amazing. So what are we getting out of this trial? So the project does confirm and extends prior evidence of reflexology-specific brain activation using neuroimaging techniques, moving reflexology beyond anecdotal evidence towards neurobiological validation. In other words, proper, concrete, medical validation of our therapy. The results suggest targeted reflexology could be optimized for patients with neurological disorders, potentially helping predict and enhance treatment outcomes. Fascinating! The demonstration of robust, repeatable neural patterns gives credence to the therapeutic claims central to reflexology and supports its use in rehabilitation programs for stroke or for pain management. Now, one of the things that we do need to remember about this trial, as with all firsts, this is a, shall we call it, dipping the toe in the water. So this is called a pilot trial. In other words, it's a small trial. So we've got some constraints due to the size limitation. In other words, we've got 4 healthy individuals on the trial, and we've got 4 post-stroke patients. The global community has provided private funding as well, because at the moment, trying to get funding from charities, getting funding from fund holders, it's difficult. We're in a chicken and egg situation with this. The fund holders need to see evidence that this is something worth investing in, but we need money to prove that it is worth investing in. Do you see where I'm coming from? So we've kind of got to get the money to do the trial, to prove that it works, so that then we can get the money to then do a bigger trial. Something that would then be more akin to a robust, shall we call it, double-blind randomized controlled trial, if we were able to do such a thing in this instance. So the full mapping of activated brain networks and publication of detailed results are pending, with future papers expected to provide comprehensive accounts of brain regions being affected by reflexology stimulation. The framework laid out by this project is seen as a springboard for larger, patient-focused studies exploring neural correlates of chronic pain, rehabilitation, and the systemic impact of tactile interventions. So this project has generated worldwide interest. 94 countries have been represented by contributors and responders. The continued support from practitioners, professional organizations and researchers highlights a growing movement to scientifically validate reflexology as a critical, neurobiologically grounded therapy. Doesn't that sound fantastic? That we could, in the future, describe reflexology as a credible, neurobiologically grounded therapy. I mean, unbelievable. I always say to my students that there has never been a more exciting time to be a reflexology. Each year that I start a new course, I say this. Guys, I would say there really hasn't been a better time to be a reflexologist, a more exciting time to be a reflexologist. But, guys, I'm going to put a link up here because we do still need more funding. I know that I keep on going on about this, and the problem is it does take an awful lot of money. People have to be paid. The staff at Minnesota University, for the time in the fMRI machine, all of this costs money. So if you can give, then if you did a web search for neural pathways of applied reflexology, you'll then be able to find a link to the GoFundMe page, or rather, sorry, it's a UNM fund page, but that's the one to go for. So please, I know I've asked already, and you might be getting sick and tired of me saying this, but this is the future of our therapy. And by the way, I don't just do the videos. I do put my money where my mouth is, and I am funding this myself too. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being patient with me when I keep on coming on and saying we need funds for this, we need funds for that. Nothing comes for free, sadly, and if we do want to move our therapy forward, if we can all pull together, that would be absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for watching, and stay well, and until the next time, stay safe.